Welcome back to the Don Bullock Morning Show. We are so glad to have Aaron Denton with us this morning. Aaron is the athletic director at North Carolina Wesleyan College, which is where we're located on the campus, sort of campus, even though the Gateway Center is not technically campus, but we're out here at the same location. And Aaron, it's great to have you on the show.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you coming in. I guess I wonder if the average person watching our show has any idea what an athletic director really does. Talk about a little bit about that for us.
There is no normal day as an athletic director, and I'm sure a lot of people say that, but especially when you're going through a pandemic. It's certainly big picture stuff, it's small picture stuff. It's at institutions like we are, meaning Division III, Division II, there's certainly a little bit of everything that you do. The most enjoyable piece is interacting with our coaches, student athletes, and a lot of what I do is not that.
Yeah.
But it's a pleasure. A lot of people, when they think about an athletic director, especially in college, they think about Division I, and they're hiring CEOs. You know, Michigan State hired a CEO from Domino's, and so this is a much different position than that. It's very hands-on, and I'm thankful for that. I like being able to do something different every day. The negative part is some days I may not know what I'm going to be doing that day when I get there.
Right.
It may change from the plans, but mainly interacting with our coaches. I mean, we do a lot with transportation. With our coaches, take care of our fields. But I always say my job is to coach our coaches, really to serve our coaches, support our coaches, and that's how I impact our student athletes, is through that interaction with our coaches. So that's my main job. And there's some days I hope I'm good at it. Other days I know I need to get better.
Well, I think that's true for all of us. You know, I would say that what you described says that you must have a strong resilience gene, because people who do things well and are very organized sometimes have some challenges when it comes to change. And somebody coming in and throwing a curveball at you when you're expecting a fastball.
Absolutely, I think you hit it right, nail on the head. What our coaches do, what athletic directors do in large part, is deal with failure in a lot of different ways, whether
Sure.
it's failure with somebody not performing on the field, or maybe somebody disappointing in some way. And so I feel like our coaches and our athletes need that. The thing I like for our athletes is we're I don't want to say safe place, you're still taking some risks, but we're a good place for you to fail, learn how to fail, learn how to overcome it, and then take that on to when you graduate into real life, when it really matters.
Well, team sports, there's no substitute for that in my book. I still have contact with, occasionally, not as often as I'd like, because we're scattered all over the country now, but I still have some contact occasionally with guys I played college basketball with. And
Sure.
There's some, when we get together, we can start elbowing one another again and juking it up real quick.
It's like you were there 10 minutes ago.
It certainly is.
And that's pretty special.
It's hard to describe, isn't it?
It is, and it's almost impossible to replicate. I'm sure somebody's been in the business for a long time and had a nice team together is similar, but there is something special about it. I feel that same way with my college teammates.
Yeah. I guess maybe a closer analogy would be perhaps military, as long as, when you look at the positive side of the military life as in terms of relationships. But there's no substitute for being a part of an athletic team, and I really have valued that. I played high school golf, was actually one of our players, and of course that was canceled my senior year of high school. But that's kind of an individual feel, and it's what we face as a PGA folks. Right. With the Ryder Cup is they have to overcome that individualistic nature, and they do all kinds of bonding things to get there. You guys do bonding stuff too.
Absolutely, our coaches are very intentional about it. As far as what experiences our teams are going to go through, fun activities for them. Community service is a big part of what this college has always been about, but especially the athletic program for a long time, well before I got here. And I think those are the type of activities that really bring people together. You see a different side. You get to know them better than just going to practice and going to games.
Just being in the trenches, that's
absolutely.
Back in, my brother played football at Wake Forest, and the defense wouldn't even talk to the offense. Really? They hated each other. But those days are long gone.
It was a little like that when I played college football, but I'd say our team is more together than that.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm overstating it, but I don't. If I am, only by a tiny bit.
But I believe it.
Yeah. And matter of fact, in the bigger universities, and not to diminish what happens here at Wesleyan, because it's very important and very good quality stuff here.
It's just different.
Yeah, when I go to a basketball game per se, I look at those kids, and they're great athletes. It's amazing how well they are developed as athletes. But in a bigger scale, in the bigger universities, you mentioned failure. Failure in a bigger university means you're off the team.
Absolutely.
Failure at North Carolina Wesleyan is often a teaching moment, and you can help develop a person's character that way.
Absolutely. We say it often, we're an educational institution. Sometimes we say it when we're frustrated, we're trying to help somebody improve, and we'll say we're an educational institution. This is an opportunity for us to grow. But in truth, that's really what we are, and it's fun to be a part of that. But you're right. You see almost an epidemic of transfers in Division I. It's
1,500 last year in basketball.
Yeah. So I mean, it's different for sure.
Yeah. Well, Division III means no athletic scholarships and so forth. But it also provides, and I don't want to, I've already stated how good the basketball athletes are. I don't want to diminish that at all, but it also provides that athlete who really wasn't a D1 player, or maybe not a D2 player, but can have some good athletic experiences here. Comment about that.
Absolutely. We provide opportunities. Maybe somebody was overlooked, maybe somebody develops later. We often get, you talk about basketball, I coach basketball, you often look at big guys in that case that maybe weren't as developed and they develop later on. My experience in coaching in college basketball has been that the difference between the levels are the number of the types of players, meaning Division I, you're probably going to have 8 to 10 Division I basketball players on a team. Division II, you may have anywhere from 3 to 7, and if a couple of them get hurt, you'll have a lot different year. Division III, you're going to have several on your teams. You'll have some players, we've got certainly several on our teams that could play Division I basketball. Our women's team beat UNC Greensboro last year.
Sure.
So the talent level is there. Typically, it's the depth.
Oh yeah,
that
your
you see the
6th,
difference
7th,
in.
and 8th players are not necessarily real strong.
Right, or not as talented as those, or as deep as those, but it is a great opportunity, and that success. So many of our teams won conference championships last year, and those bonds, as you talked about, are even stronger than a normal team. A team that wins a championship like that, when they come back and when they talk to each other, it's just different.
Well, we bonded if we won a game.
Understand?
Not really, but I was one of those guys. I grew into my feet during my sophomore year of college. My freshman year, I was still a little awkward, whatever. But my sophomore, by the time I was a sophomore, I was doing, I think, well. But yeah, but back to the challenges that you face. You mentioned the disruptions of COVID. Now, last year there were not a lot of games played. But this year we're back to sort of normal?
We really are. Last year, who would have thought you'd ever say playing a game is a win? But we did. In the spring, we played all of our sports, and it was great to get back there. And we are, as far as our activity and what we're doing, we're back to normal. As far as testing and those type of things, certainly there's a extensive amount of that going on. So everything is not as it was, as it never will be, I'm sure, in some cases. However, as far as what we're participating in, our teams, we are back to normal, and that's exciting. I mean, it's great to see for a lot of our student athletes.
And are there fans welcome to events now?
They are. That was the big point of contention last year, and it was the worst part of our job was telling people certain numbers and certain visiting fans they can't come, which is parents want to see their kids play. Come on.
Right.
So that was tough, but fans are welcome now. Indoors, they're still mask required indoors as our conference policy and our institution policy. But outdoors, people generally have space to be where they want to be, and they can kind of fit within their comfort level. But we've had great crowds. I think our first football game this year, we had more people than we've had on an on-campus event there, and it was just great. So there's been a lot of interest. We've had more local interest just from community members, like people watching today that have been there. Have been coming to our games, so we're excited about it. I mean, that's what we want to be. We want to be a part of our community.
Well, again, let me just say that the football games I've been that I attended, and I have attended a number of games, not this past year, but I didn't go to any of the spring games, as you mentioned. But the competition level is pretty strong. I mean, these kids, the starting lineup kids especially, are just real ball players.
Absolutely. People, it's difficult for people to understand high school students as I used to recruit. You really encourage the high school students to come out and local fans to come out and watch a game to see it in person, because the biggest adjustment in really any sport for a high school student are strength and speed. And watching on TV, you don't get a good feel for that. When you come and you can stand here like you do pretty close to the sideline, and you can see how large these athletes are, how strong they are, how fast they are,
how quick they are. It's shocking.
It's eye-opening.
Yeah,
And it's fun. I mean, after our game, fans and kids can go up to our players and shake their hand, say hello, and that
Right.
part of it's pretty special.
Well, and again, that's something that the larger schools have lost, because you mentioned the University of Michigan hiring the Domino's guy. I saw an interview with him, and he mentioned to me, or mentioned in this interview, that only 4 or 5 athletic programs around the country pay for themselves fully. And I don't know if that's changed or not, but this was this was his 3rd year there, so he's been there 10 years probably now at least.
So.
But the pressure to create income has just overtaken D1 schools. I mean, it's just a big deal. And the pressures that you have to produce income are different.
Absolutely. We're a tuition-driven institution, like many small colleges across the country, which are being squeezed for many reasons. And so, we really, certainly athletics is one way we recruit to the institution. It's we talk about added value. Why do you come to Wesleyan? What's special about Wesleyan? And our people here are certainly special. We've got some great programs. We've added some academic programs that have been real successful. Our master's programs have really taken off. Of course, we just added a nursing, an RN, and a BSN. But that's, it's more about a whole institution here than it is just one area. Now, if you want to talk about the Division I money piece, if you've got till about 10:30 or 11, we
Yeah.
can probably get through maybe a fourth of it.
Right.
But that's a really interesting.
And especially the new likeness, image, likeness.
Name, image, likeness.
That's crazy.
It is.
I guess that's why the Southeastern Conference has been grabbing other schools, because they're going to have to do their own thing.
Absolutely. And
how would the ACC compete with the money that is poured into Alabama, as an example?
Right, and one interesting argument, the NCAA has really, quite honestly, refused to just recognize that change was coming and fought it tooth and nail, and that's one of the things that they've failed to realize, is that it's coming, and it's really, you got to get on with it or get out of the way, one of the two. And the sheer volume of money is what causes the issue.
Well, one of the things I thought too, and my brother who played ball, I mentioned him earlier, mentioned to me, was, can you imagine a name, image, and likeness star athlete at Alabama somehow getting a $5 million endorsement? I don't know if they put a ceiling on these things.
No,
Can you imagine the offensive line saying, listen, when you run the ball, we're folding our arms so that you share the wealth with us.
Well,
that's part of the
sure.
dynamic.
Have you seen the Sam Howell quarterback
I have.
UNC, the commercial that he did?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming those 5 guys that were in the commercial with him were offensive linemen. So he took, and they may not be, but he took less pay in order to involve them in the.
That was
in the
smart.
deal. So yes, it was
Smart at a number of levels. Yeah, because can you imagine the old idea of you're going to run a playoff tackle and the tackle pulls
the other way.
Boom.
It certainly creates a lot of interesting situations.
Yeah.
And but in general, big time athletics does not fit with our collegiate institutions in the U.S. However, they are forever married. They're not going to be
Right.
separated, but philosophically they don't fit together. So.
Well, I've commented several times and that University of Alabama has such a great football team that they're considering starting a college.
I understand.
But that'll not happen at Wesleyan.
No.
The focus is still on the student.
It's on the student, and there are a lot of things going on that are community-driven as well. And I know we talk about some of those, but just having that connection with the community. Division III in general is about the student-athlete experience, both in terms of what we can provide them, but also in terms of having that connection with the community.
Yeah. Well, let's segue over to facilities and have some conversations about that. There's a huge facility over here on the side of the campus by the Food Line Shopping Center.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
So it's our indoor sports and education facility. It is an incredible facility, and the neat thing is it's big, right? When you see it, it's large. When you walk inside, it looks at least twice as big on the inside as it does the outside. It's a state-of-the-art facility. It's an air-supported structure. Now, different people call it different things. There's bubble. There's all kinds of dome. There's all kinds of types.
Has anybody referred to it as a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
We've got marshmallow before in a very positive way. But the exciting thing is, certainly some people wonder what it is. They want to see it. They even question, what in the world is this? And so when they walk inside and see what's in there, to a person, they're impressed.
The conversation changes.
Absolutely. And what's really exciting about just having it is Albie Bryce, our tennis coach, was really the genesis behind it with a primary anonymous donor from the community. Several different groups have also supported money-wise, but that's what's special about it is it's from the community and it's meant for the community. Certainly for we're going to have many benefits here on West End's campus, but the people who supported getting it built have a vision for it to impact our community and are continuing to support it and want it to continue to impact our community. So there's 4 tennis courts. There's 2 squash courts, which squash is really new to a lot of people in the community. We're excited about sharing that. It's got space for a couple more. We've got 3 classrooms, including an exercise science lab. Our exercise science program is in there, in their offices. We've got a little bit of space for expansion. We've also got some areas that we're raising money right now to fill out. We've got a couple of golf hitting bays in there, which are pretty sweet. We've just raised a little bit of money to start some of those.
Well, technology behind that's expensive.
Yes, it is.
If you do it right, it's very expensive.
And we want to do it right. That's part of what that facility is. We want to reach all areas of our community, and again, that was important to the donor. Anybody in the community is welcome. They're welcome to come out and rent the facility for court time or lessons or whatnot. Again, Albie really being the driver behind it. They've worked to bring in community groups already. There's a tennis abilities group that's coming in, I think, October, where it's a group of young people with disabilities that prepare eventually for a tournament. We have a Bishop Tennis, I think it's, I have to make sure on my phone here, but bishopstennis.org is a site where you can go for community hours. It's got lessons. We have a group going right now on Tuesday and Thursdays for lessons, mainly for kids, but it's adults can be there too. The main point I want to make is we're going to continue to do what we need to do to invest in the community through that facility, and that's exciting.
Well, I know the people. I probably shouldn't know this, but I know some of the donors behind it.
Sure. Because
of my connections with the community. I know how driven they are to be community oriented, and I'm certain that they will continue to emphasize that with their support of that facility. And I think it's important for the community to know that the college didn't pay for it.
That's true. We have every bit of the funds there have been donated funds. Travel and tourism stepped up as well to be a big part of that, and we're very thankful for that. They've been a good partner to the college. But everything in that facility has been donated to the college. The college has not paid a penny, and again, when community steps up like that, then really it was certainly a challenge getting that thing built. And again, several people bear the brunt of that, but it was fascinating watching it go up. But really, we look at it as our challenge is starting now. Our challenge is making sure that this facility that people worked hard for and donated money to is used in the fashion it was meant to be used. So we've got classes in there now. Peacemakers has been in. We'll still be doing some clinics with them, which has been fun. But we're going to work to try to fulfill the vision of the people that invested in us.
Well, there's always give and take, and I'm certain that the college is very interested in being faithful to the spirit of that donation. On the other side of the campus, on the corner here, I've noticed some trees have been taken down and some big light poles up there.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So we're excited. So I guess that's the southeast corner of our campus. will be our stadium, and our stadium will be the permanent home of football and women's lacrosse. We moved football to campus for kind of a trial version for a couple games a couple years ago. It went really well. The attendance, just students walking out. Now, all 3 games we've had this year, tailgating. I mean, it's what you expect when you come to a college game. It's
Right.
really fun.
Well, that's got to help people stay on campus.
It does.
So many, one of the concerns I heard when I was out here was there's nothing to do on campus on the weekends. When you got a ball game, there's something to do, and I'm certain people are going, well, Mom, I don't want to come home this weekend.
That's right. That's what we want.
Yeah.
And the other side of it too is, if you think about parents, high school coaches that come to watch these student athletes compete. Before they were at Rocky Mountain Stadium, which that was a good relationship for us, but they wouldn't even come to our campus.
It's not the same thing.
No, they'd go to the game, they'd go out to eat, but then they'd never, the parent, the coach would never literally drive on Wesleyan's campus, and now it's an integral part of that game. But
And that's a shame because the campus is beautiful.
it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's neat too, the college has taken steps strategically over the last 4 or 5 years to plant trees in certain places to make sure that we continue to invest in that even as we grow.
Yeah, I would say that our campus, I still refer to it as ours because of my work there and my affinity for the place, but our campus is as pretty as any campus in Eastern North Carolina.
It is, and we hear that from opposing teams, from people that visit, and we're proud of it. That's one thing we sell. But to kind of wrap, as you talked about the stadium, so that'll be home to football, women's lacrosse, but all our teams can use it. It's lighted. It's our first lighted field on campus. The tennis courts are lighted, but our first lighted field on campus. And we are still in the fundraising phase to finish the field part. We've actually got a gift waiting of almost $850,000 once we finish the field that will help us complete some things on the stadium. We've got some bleachers and scoreboard that have already been donated, and people donated the, effort to move it to the stadium once that's complete. And so that's what we're doing right now. So I guess if I could make a pitch, I would say that we appreciate the college being involved. We appreciate the community being involved in the college, and we've seen what it can result in. And we're asking for just that continued support. If you want to be part of something special with the indoor sports and education facility, we need investment to do those things in the community. We want to finish outfitting as far as some of the equipment and that type thing. And then the same thing with the stadium. We want to make it. We want to make it a special place, a special experience for our student athletes, but also something that's going to impact our community. I mean, we'd love to get, and they like being on campus, so I don't blame them, but we'd love to get high school games. We'd love to get a stadium where the high schools would want to come over here, or depending on what kind of field we put in, if they've got a rainy day, maybe they could come over here and play. So lots of things like that we want to improve, but I just want to thank the community for investing in us and urge you to, urge you that it's a good investment.
And continue that investment.
Yes, sir.
That's a good deal. Well, the ball fields out here, to me, especially the softball, baseball fields, I mean, they look as good as you see over in Zebulon. I mean, I wondered if one of the coaches out there with tweezers, picking up weeds or whatever
I
might
think
show
so.
up. They're just amazing how well they look. And that's a big factor too, right?
Absolutely. Anything we have, we want to take care of it. But we have really all of our fields out there are great fields, and our coaches do the bulk of the work. We have Aubrey McDaniel, a former golf course superintendent, that does some contract work for us and helps us, educates us a little bit. But our coaches do the absolute bulk of the work there, and as far as taking care of them and that type of stuff. And it is special. It means a lot that it looks good, and that's part of what we wanted to do. Anything we do, we want to do well.
And again, I'm hoping that you can keep some of your coaches around. But Wesleyan has a history of seeing coaches go to the next level. Fox went to Carolina, and Avent went to NC State. We're both coaches here.
Absolutely.
And that's a big deal.
It's huge for us. Coach Fox is coming back to present one of our inductees into the Hall of Fame October 9th. So we're pretty excited about that. But it's a big deal. Right now, what happens a lot with us is our assistant coaches get head jobs. We've had 2 assistant coaches in the last month get head jobs at other institutions. And so I think that speaks to, hopefully, our quality of what we're doing here. And we do have a lot of great people, and that's what makes it special.
Well, one of the things I want to, I don't want to create a mess here, but I want to comment about something that I realized that when the baseball coach changed and Charlie Long moved on, he's now where?
Head coach at William Peace.
At William
in Raleigh.
Peace. Great job for him. But there was quite a bit of consternation over the pick of this coach. He's proven himself, as he
They
knows.
went to the NCAA tournament last year, and it was great. What was special about that? I mean, Coach Clifton is just
He came from a small program.
he's a first class person. I think
Absolutely.
First, and that's what should lead the way in all of it. Character is our number one C, so to speak. But in addition to that, the season before, if you remember, was the pandemic. So
Right.
March 13th, everything shuts down. So we've got seniors, we've got all kinds of people who didn't finish their season in the spring, and both our baseball and softball team had great springs the next year. And so we several kids came back for that fifth year, the extra year they got, and it meant so much to see, obviously, Coach Clifton do well, but also I know he was really happy to see those seniors who'd invested some extra time come back and get to the NCAA tournament. But it's special, and success breeds success. So,
Yeah. I didn't want to rub salt in the wound here about Coach Clifton. I just wanted to make sure everybody understood. He has done a great job. And
He has.
As most of your John Thompson's been here since Noah. He's been here for how many years now?
I guess that he was AD for 20 plus. I think it's 26 maybe.
Yeah, he's a heck of a good coach and a good human being too. So
And that both of our men's and women's basketball teams both won conference championships last year.
that's great. Listen, we're out of time here, but thank you for coming in. We'll have to have you come back.
Thank you for having me.
I do a Monday night show. Maybe we can get you come over and give us a whole hour. That'd be fun to have you come in and do that.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Love to.
Aaron.
Thank you.
Blessings to you and your family.
You too. Thank you.